was first going off and meeting sheep, I really did always love sheep when I was a child, and we'd like to take pictures of them, and I had little sheep things. But when I was knitting more and more, I realized I was interested in where that wool was coming from. And I was able to meet a lot of farmers and meet some other spinners, and thinking, oh, maybe I could do this. So I thought, well, I'm going to take up this new hobby called spinning. My name is Adrianne Hills. I moved to Erie last year, and I brought all 12 spinning wheels with me to Erie because I love spinning wool. Everyone has seen sheep wandering around in fields along the roads, but I take the wool from sheep and I turn that into a yarn that I can use to knit with, and that is what I love to do. I met a lot of sheep, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could say I am wearing wool from that sheep or from this farm? And with spinning, I could do that. Wool can range from very thin and fine to rather coarse. So on this end, we have merino sheep. We think of merino sweaters as being particularly soft, and they are. But then we have some that are maybe a little thicker, maybe a little hairier. Some over at this end actually have two kinds of fiber, or three kinds, in their fleece. One is more of a thick guard hair and then a softer underside, and that helps them live in their really cold environments of like Iceland or Norway and Sweden and those northern countries. But I particularly love to spin Shetland because there are many different colors and there's different grades within Shetland fleece, some suitable for that really soft up against your skin wear and some coarser for outer wear. And it has so many natural colors. And I love some of the other really obscure sheep too, but there's so many. How could I pick just one? I'm a fairly recent convert. I've only been spinning since 2013, but I love sitting with those folks who've been spinning since the 60s and 70s. When I first wanted to spin, I was smart enough to get some fiber that was already prepared for spinning. And that first yarn I spun, oh, there were thick spots and there were thin spots. And when I plied it, I just prayed those two would meet and even out. And other spinners said, knit with your first yarns. You'll be surprised how good it looks when it's knitted. And sure enough, after a couple years, I had this pile of that first summer's worth of spinning. And I knitted it into the green vest that I brought today. And it didn't look all bumpy and lumpy the way I thought it would. And in fact, judges at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Show gave it a blue ribbon in the hand spinning category. So that was my first summer's worth of yarn. Spinning wheels have a lot of funny part names. So the bobbin is the obvious thing. The part with the cup holders is called the flyer. Then you have the drive wheel, which I think everyone can figure that one out. And then we have the orifice here where the yarn comes through, and that allows me to add that spinning, that twist, without turning things into knots. I realized pretty quickly I've picked something up that I love working with my hands, and for someone who loves to work with her hands or his hands, spinning is a great hobby. But I also found a hobby where I will never know it all. And that is such a joy to realize I will always have something new to look forward to learning with spinning wool, from the different breeds, the different techniques of spinning, different types of wheels. And I've only brought wheels today. There's a whole nother realm of spindles and supported spindles spinning that is very mobile. So I'll never learn it all. And yes, you can go and take spinning classes or spinning lessons one-on-one with spinning teachers. And I have done that, but I have really improved the most by spinning a lot with spinners that are just sitting in a room with their wheels, sharing with each other what they're doing. Be prepared for a journey that won't end. Don't be embarrassed to say, I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to fix this. My spinning wheel doesn't have any take-up. I don't know how to adjust it. There's a realm out there online for people who can chime in and help you, or even just drive over 20 or 30 miles to do that. We would do that to help you get a spinning wheel going when you're stuck. Don't be discouraged. There is help. People tend to call this left-handed spinning, and that's why I'm using the part that's on the right, because I can draw it across my body without too much twist. So what I'm doing is called long draw, and I'm letting the twist enter the fiber that's in my hand and pull out the next bit. But it's still not so twisted that I couldn't still stretch it out a little thinner if I wanted to. And if you come up close, you'll be able to see, because I'm knitting this gray-white blend, how much twist. This actually was a really good first kind of yarn to be making for a beginner, because you can see how much twist is going in. You're aiming for about a 45-degree angle of twist. So a spinning wheel puts this twist in, and because there's a difference in speed between the bobbin and this U-shaped part is called the flyer. That gives some magical thing called uptake, where there's a pulling in feeling. I can hold against it, but that's what feeds this finished part onto the bobbin. And then those little cup hooks on the flyer help me to fill the bobbin evenly. I can just put that thread here and it will fill in a new section. So there are different styles of spinning depending on what kind of yarn you want to make. So I'm doing something that's going to make, believe it or not, a fluffier yarn, because I'm letting some air into this. Just need a little less tension there. I'm letting that twist enter into the fiber, and that's going to capture some air. When you think about a lightweight Icelandic wool sweater, but it's so warm, it's caught a lot of air. Or that Afghan your mother crocheted that had all the fluffy holes in it, you're thinking it has holes. How could that be warm? Well, it's captured the air. And if I make it too thin, I can just stop and start again. So if I wanted to do a yarn that was going to have less pilling, show off the luster, I would do what's called a short forward draw, where I'm stretching out the length, and then I let the twist enter. And I'm going to hold that very still and just run my finger back and let the twist enter that way. And that's going to keep those fibers aligned as the twist enters, and it's not going to capture as much air. So spinners have a lot of choices for the kind of project we want to make. So this would be short forward draw. Some people just do this. That's all they want to do, and they sit in front of their television, or they listen to an audiobook, or they go sit out in nature, and this is the most soothing thing. Just absolute peace, and they can think about things. So this will capture a lot more air. Now this fleece still has a bit of lanolin in it, so it may be a little sticky, but that means I should be able to pull back really well for a long draw. So I'm just getting that attached. I'm going to pull out a whole bunch, and then while it's still not all latched in, I'm going to do a double draw. There we go. And then I'll spin that until I think it's got enough twist in it, and then wind that on. If I want to see maybe what that finished yarn is going to look like, I can let it ply back on itself. Never look like that. So I think I've got maybe more twist than I need. So what I can do is maybe draw out a bit more. The twist will always travel to where you have your fingers stopping it. So think about those fibers turning in a hurricane, making a little tornado there. And this will get very puffy once I wet it and finish the yarn.